Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the By Faith podcast. My name is Elizabeth Davis. I am your host. Thank you so much for joining this episode of the By Faith podcast, where we are going to watch and react to Josh Brown's interview with the Colleyville police. And along with us today, we have my favorite flavor of LaCroix, tangerine. When you're going to watch something so terrible, you need something that's going to give you a little pick me up. Love that sound. So, to catch you up, if you don't know, which I'm guessing you do if you were watching this video, Josh Brown, his police interview was released with on the Julie Roy's report. So, it is not easy for me to cover. I was really dreading watching it. I have been kind of putting off this video today, but I watched it last night and I couldn't sleep. And so I thought, you know what? Let me just watch it. Let me just watch it and get it over with so I can get my thoughts. And I have a lot of thoughts. I really have a lot of thoughts that, I'm sure you guys have seen Laura Lynn's episode where she goes into detail about all the lies, which we know he's a liar. We know he's a liar. We know Joni's a liar. We know Rachel's a liar. But at the beginning of the video, he says that they make baseless claims about him. Okay, Jonathan and Susie do. I find it very interesting because in this interview, Joshua Brown makes a lot of baseless claims that really he just says wild things. Like the investigator or the detective will ask him questions, and Josh Brown immediately becomes the victim. Like he'll be normal and talking like a normal human being, and then as soon as he's asked about the day at the beach house specifically is really when he starts acting uncomfortable and talking about how, oh, well, they've just ruined my life and I'm stalked at the gym. And he always says, this has ruined my life, detective. And it's like, okay, well, your pleasantries and your alleged manners are not, you're just doing too much. He over explains himself. He'll go off on little side stories that have absolutely not. This is a police investigation. And this man is sitting here having a conversation with the detective as if he's at happy hour. And it's actually comical in a way. Obviously, the situation is terrible, but he himself, I laughed a couple of times because he's just such a terrible liar that what else can you do? So I want to show you guys my thoughts. We're going to start at the 17-minute mark, okay? Because this is where I started writing down my thoughts on with timestamps. And I there was obviously a lot I could say before that, but specifically, we'll start around the 17-minute mark here. Let me add to the stage.
Susie accused a stranger at Whole Foods for looking at her inappropriately or whatever it was. So that Rebecca is very volatile, but she has a great smile.
Yeah, it's got to be tough working with family and all that stuff.
So you would not believe what I have had to endure for 4 years. And I'm so glad that they went public, because now they've thrown everything and they continue to throw. They've run out of things to throw. Now they're going to Australia and trying to get me fired from stuff there.
So you still have business in Australia?
Yes.
Okay. I guess off topic, but that flight is like 17 hours, right?
17 hours, yeah, a little over.
Gotcha.
Depends on the wind.
Okay. Yeah. There's just something I was thinking about earlier.
Day like today, you get there about 3 hours.
Depends on the wind going the right way.
Yeah.
But I guess you said 4 years, it's been going on for 4 years.
Well, whenever we're at the beach in Florida,
Yeah.
and I was upstairs with Israel, my son, and was apparently getting changed behind me, and Jonathan Lamb walked in the room. That day, whenever that was, You see, this has done a number on me,
Here we go.
detective. Like, I got a wife and kids.
Oh, cry me a river. This has done a number on me, detective. See how he's like polite and he gets his charisma going, and it's like, we are not fooled. And I don't think the detective is either. If you watch the whole interview with Joshua Brown, the detective says very little, whereas the other two interviews, he was able, I should say, he was able to ask a lot more questions, whereas with Josh, he kind of just lets him yap and say a lot of nonsense and not really explain what happened that day at all. And it feels like I'm watching an episode of Days of Our Lives, or maybe even a Saturday Night Live sketch. Like, are you serious? This is the best you can do? I mean, you've been a liar your whole life. Obviously, there are other accounts of you being inappropriate with other people and making other people uncomfortable on the other side of the globe, a 17-hour flight away, or however long they just said in this video. So to me, it's just this is a show. Like, this is actually rehearsed lines that, to me, he has said things like this before. This isn't the first time I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, it seems like this is not the first time he has been confronted about his inappropriate behavior. And I was thinking last night while I was watching it that he is so much more animated, and his vocal inflections, he talks up a lot, like the whole time. Like, whenever he actually has to answer a question, he starts talking up, and then he goes back to a normal tone of voice whenever he's just talking about, the flight to Australia, or just whatever kind of normal conversation comment he makes. So I don't get it. I'm like, I think that he is probably one of the worst liars I have ever seen. And I want to go to play a little more of this, but then we're going to go to the next part that I have written down in my notes. This is my DAYSTAR 5-star notebook. I have notes in here from like a year ago, and I got a lot of notes. I love to take notes on this story because it's so crazy to me that you can lie like this. I'm not a liar like that. Like, everybody has lied in their life, right? We've all told like a white lie, if you will, where the consequences of that lie is probably a lot of the time you don't want to upset another person. It's not really so much to keep yourself out of trouble as much as it is maybe you don't want to hurt that other person's feelings. Like, for example, you don't want to hang out with someone. You're, oh, yeah, I got a doctor's appointment that day, or whatever, whatever your little lie is about it. This is like your whole life is a lie. You are two different people. You are a person that has a job in the public eye, and then also an alleged pedophile. Like, these are serious accusations. It's not just Jonathan and Susie who have made a count. I was going to say earlier, when you watch Rebecca and JW and Sylvia's interviews, they all three are sitting like calmly, like they're telling the story maybe with some animation, because there's this is a very serious subject matter. So, it's not like they're being crazy with how they animate themselves. I don't know how, for lack of a better way to say this, but Josh Brown's body language, he's just so much more tense, and it's very performative to me. I feel like I'm watching something on Broadway. Well, not really Broadway, because those people are good. Josh Brown is a terrible actor, liar, whatever.
And for someone just to be able to say something.
Time out real quickly. He's a Colleyville detective. He can investigate crime in Colleyville, but he's heard all this story.
I do like perspective, though.
He probably hasn't heard your version, so unpack for him step by step what happened in Florida.
On this day?
Yes, just
Okay.
slow and follow.
Start from the beginning.
On this day. You don't know what day they're talking about. Oh, the day you got there when you unpacked your suitcase at the house. No, the time that you allegedly touched a child. Come on now. He's not even smart. He's not even smart. Like, the way the detective and the lawyer, they have to force him essentially to explain this story of what happened at the beach house. Just say what happened at the beach house. Just say it takes the whole hour for him to finally give his full account without starting and stopping and telling weird side stories that have absolutely nothing to do with anything. He tells a whole story about how Rachel was pumping at one point and she was pumping every 2 hours in and out of the airport. He tries to relate himself to the detective. He says, "Do you have children, detective?" And the detective just sits there like, "Bro, I'm not playing your game." He's like, I relate in reference to pumping. Okay. So this is just crazy. I could do like 10 videos on this interview alone. I could. If you want me to, I will.
So my son was around 1 at the time. He was teething, and you have your good days and your not so good days.
Oh, okay, so you need this.
Thank you. And
Your son's name?
son's name is Judah.
Judah.
What does that have to do with anything? Why are you bringing your son into this? I mean, why are you even his name has nothing to do with it. I don't understand.
And he was fussy. So pick him up. And he was good for a little bit, and then you got to go outside, go into another room, whatnot. Leading up to that day, Israel would talk about his city view from his bed. It was a view of nothing, a street.
I'm interrupting here, but I'm sorry. He doesn't know second come here what you're talking about. Y'all have a house that the Lambs used to rent, a vacation home, a large home where each couple had their own little area and room and bathroom and kids and that sort of thing. So that's the setup, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
No, we've never heard of a family vacation home before, lawyer.
we have actually 4 families in there together. 4 couples.
Yes.
Did you guys just hear my earring fall out?
So you go,
Okay. And then the kids and the grandkids too.
yes.
Okay, it's a complete family compound setting. Okay, go ahead.
And so Israel had been talking about his city view. We would talk about the beach view. Everyone would say about the better view. And I'd be like, no, Israel, you got a great view. You know, I used to live downtown, condo in Nashville, had a city view. It was awesome. So, you know, city view is great. Oh, Uncle Josh, come up and have a look. I'll come up one, you know, yes, but not now. So I kept on pushing it back, you know, yes, yes, not now. So finally, I've run out of things to do with Judah because he's just, you know, teething, not happy. And I said, all right, Israel, how about you? Do you want to show me your city view? Oh, yeah, that'd be great. You know, so we walk upstairs. Also comes upstairs. I've got my 1-year-old squiggly son wriggling around, not happy, but kind of interested now because he's, you know, I climb up on
Yeah, I'm sure a 1-year-old teething child gives any cares about the city view in Israel's room. And okay, also a point I want to make. Josh says earlier in, hold on, God, I need a mouse. Josh says earlier in the video that he is, Jonathan's not good with kids, specifically. Jonathan Lamb is not good with kids, is what he says. And Josh, there's too many J's. Josh says that it insinuates that Josh himself is good with children. So I'm thinking to myself, after I watch this, why did you say you were good with kids, but then you keep putting Israel off? Do you see what I mean? Like, he's just, he talks out both sides of his mouth. He says 2 different things a lot of the time, and it's insane. It's insane.
Israel's bed.
A bed to stretch over and look out the window.
To pull the blinds.
Is Josh, I'm not trying to be mean, Is Josh, does he have like short-term memory loss? Is this like a Dory situation? Why is he never able to tell the story for himself? Everybody always has to remind him of the lie. And it is said that when Denise Boggs talked to the family, Rachel would not let Josh speak for himself. None of that in the family meeting. Susie said, I believe, I could have this wrong. I didn't go back and watch this interview, but I remember her saying that she said Pete would not speak for himself. Everybody else was talking for him and explaining what happened. And even Josh says, oh yeah, I didn't tell anybody what happened in the family meeting because I was sitting there crying. I went from being the favorite uncle to everybody has a secret opinion of me that I'm a weirdo. Well, yeah, you are a weirdo. So anyway, the lawyer here is helping Josh remember what happened. Remember the story that they're giving everybody, which Joni and the lawyer and Rachel all have to help him remember his lie. What I believe is a lie, I should say. To me, if I tell you what I did yesterday, I don't need someone to help me remember that. Even traumatic things that I've been through, I don't need you to help me remember what happened. If I were to report a traumatic thing that happened to me, I don't know what that would be, but let's just say something happens to me. I don't need a lawyer to help me remember. I just don't. I remember what happened. JW and Rebecca remembered what happened, and they had an attorney with them as well. And that attorney sat there the whole time and just let them speak. He didn't have to help them concoct a story, but everybody that is with Josh somehow, they know all the details, but yet Josh can't convey them himself, and he was the one there. Don't you think that's weird? And he's so confused how everybody thinks he's a liar when you're not even a smart liar.
To look out the window. And then very shortly after that, Jonathan Lamb comes running up, his face is red, and he's screaming, what are you doing in here? How dare you? Blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Well, first of all, I'm kneeling on the bed like this, so, what the heck? How dare you? How dare you? I'm sorry. What, what? How could you be in here? I'm sorry. Like, what? He's like, my daughter's getting changed. And I'm like, really? Like,
So for his benefit, we're talking the 2021 time frame, give or take.
yes.
So it would be about 5 at that time.
I'm not sure.
Okay, he can do the calculation himself, but
This is in Miami Beach, Florida. Still screaming.
time out. Here I am taking this over, and I said I wouldn't do that. You're staring in the opposite direction. The girl's behind you over your shoulder.
I didn't know where she was, but
You didn't know she's in the room.
I knew she came up with this, but I've got my son.
Okay.
Okay, so one, I need to write this down. Where's my pen? He says he knew she came up with us. Okay, so Josh knew the child came up with them. Okay, all right, good to know.
But for his benefit, y'all have actually taken pictures of that.
Yes.
At least your wife has.
Yep.
And we were looking the other day at about an 18 to 20 foot distance from where you are to where she is, all the way across this kid's room.
If what Jonathan Lamb says is true, because to this day, I don't know if she got changed or not.
So you never saw her?
Never saw
You
her.
never saw her say undress or changing dress or otherwise? Okay.
Nope. All I remember is just screaming, and I'm thinking, what the heck? Where is this coming from? Like, unload. Like, and so I'm just apologizing. I'm like, I'm out of here, right? So, like, go down the stairs, and then I tell my wife, I'm like, something is really wrong with Jonathan. This is what happened. She's like, we need to go immediately and tell Dad and Mom. So we tell them.
So in that small snippet of the interview, we get that, one, he knew the child was coming up with them, okay? And then he also says he never saw her in the room, okay? He only remembers everyone screaming. Keep that thought in your mind. Just remember that. And you need to remember it for Josh because he's going to need help telling the story, okay? Because he can't remember. He has amnesia or something. He clearly just has memory problems. I don't want to be mean about someone with memory problems, but like, this is pretty serious. The guy just can't remember what happened, and so everybody has to help him along the way. Okay, now we're going to go to the family meeting. This is what happened at the family meeting. His account of that.
A great idea. You should do a sleepover. The sleepover never happened. Never happened.
Circling back to 2021, you said there's a family meeting.
Yep.
Who was all in that family meeting?
Marcus, Joni, Rachel, my wife, Jonathan, Susie, Jonathan Weiss, Rebecca Weiss. I believe that was everybody.
Like, what was?
It was very traumatic for me because I had gone from being the favorite uncle, not knowing any of this craziness, to now being accused of
That wasn't the question.
trying to look at
He didn't ask about your trauma.
someone getting changed.
Who doesn't have trauma in their life?
He's asking about the family meeting.
Yeah. So like,
Come on, Dory. Don't forget the question.
Where was it? Who was there? What was discussed?
It was in the, maybe the basement, but it's not a basement, but
Was it like a common area?
like a games room. On the same level, I believe, as the garage. But, I don't play pool. I believe it had a pool table. I don't play pool.
What does that have to do with the family meeting? They weren't playing pool at the family meeting.
I'm terrible at it. It bores me. And it has, that other game that you throw stuff down along.
Shuffleboard?
Okay, I don't remember the detective or the attorney asking what kind of games were down in the game room or the family room or the basement or whatever kind of room you want to call it. I don't care if it was a room underground. That wasn't the question. Nobody's asking, did you guys play Candyland?
I think that might be it. That's an American game.
It's a game room downstairs there.
Yeah.
okay.
And so we had it there, and it was like my world got shattered that day, detective. It was like getting punched in the back of your head with.
So what was exactly discussed in there?
You, Josh, got the world shattered that day because you got caught. You got caught, my friend. You're not my friend. You got caught, Dory. You got caught in your short-term memory loss and your inability to tell a lie. You creeped out multiple people. But in this family, nobody can bring anything forward because then they're called dramatic. Okay, so we know that in this family, the dynamic is Rebecca's dramatic. She's fake. She has a great smile, but, she's vindictive. Susie is, she fabricates stories about people looking at her in the grocery store and being essayed. And then obviously her daughter's essay, because apparently this is completely fabricated, according to Josh Brown and Joni. And, well, we know Rachel's nuts, but that's been said too. But I don't know. I think that's pretty obvious. So, yeah, sorry.
You said that because after that incident at the City View thing with Israel in the room.
And my son Judah.
Yeah, and your son Judah.
Let's not forget about his son. Let's not forget about Judah, his son, who is, this is disgusting. Think about this. I don't know if we're going to get to it in this video, and I'm sure you've seen the interview for yourself. If you haven't, it'll be linked in the description. I really, you need to watch this. This is just insane, and take your own notes, make your own opinions. Okay, do your own research. But later on in the video, in this instance, at the beach house, he's carrying his son Judah, who is allegedly teething, which I believe, carries the son upstairs, okay, with him to see the city view. This is Josh's account. I'm not talking about what we think. What we all know the truth is. This is Dory's account, okay? They go up. He has Judah. Later on in the interview, he's talking about, the detective asks him about when he would stop by at Jonathan and Susie's unannounced when Jonathan and Susie were not home. And again, he says, oh, like we go on evening walks and I have my son Judah with me. And, Judah comes along. He loves to play with the kids. He loves other kids. Blah, 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 blah. Nonsense. Okay. You're being accused of being a pedophile. And you're using your son as a shield from that to make yourself seem more human. Humane and human. That is sick. You are using your own child. You are exploiting your own kid that God blessed you with. And their kids are cute and they don't deserve this. Judah is so cute. I would just squeeze him if I saw him. I love kids. And I think it's a shame that people exploit their children to get themselves out of trouble or for money, exploiting their children on the internet. And they're the ones that brought it up. Jonathan and Susie didn't even share anything about the son being in his arms, not because they were trying to hide anything, but because they didn't want to exploit the child. They didn't want to exploit Rachel and Joshua Brown's child. I think that's quite admirable. But instead they took that, and Joni and Josh and Rachel, oh, he was holding a baby, he has his son with him. I have my son with me. La la la. You're exploiting your child. And another point, not once in this interview, I was watching Laura Lynn last night. Someone said in the comments, did anybody say anything about that they were concerned about what actually did happen to the child? No, that was never brought up. Neither the lawyer nor Josh ever say anything about, we do want to find out what happened to the child. We want the truth. They didn't say anything like that. All they're doing is covering up for Josh. And the only person that says that they care about the child in this scenario is the detective. And when he says it when they start asking questions. Well, when's this case going to be closed? When's this going to be over? How long is this going to go on? Do you have any more information? They ask if there was an outcry from the child. They ask who told certain things that the detective was told. They want to know who that was interviewed tells him these things. And, I'm just willing to bet they don't know about Sylvia until now. God bless Sylvia. So I'm not trying to go on a long monologue, but it's just so unjustified. It's unjustified. And that's why I get so passionate. I'm not upset, but it's like I get very passionate about it, right? You should too.
I remember a lot of it because I was crying a lot because I couldn't believe that anyone would even think, let alone say, like, oh, we don't feel comfortable with him anymore. He was upstairs while she was getting changed, and I was thinking, what? Like, I didn't even see her getting changed. I mean, it was just like a shock to the system, like so foreign to me, and it was just like the whole world was just like,
So when you
I'm sure, Josh, I'm sure that you felt a certain type of way when you got busted. I almost said something I can't say on the internet. I can, but I don't think people would like it. You got your stones busted, Josh. You got your stones busted. And your wife has you by the balls, by the way. They're covering for you and making your lie look worse. But at the same time, without them, I mean, who knows what he would say? This guy's acting like he's in a therapy session and he's being investigated. This is an ongoing, at the time, an ongoing police investigation. And this man is talking to a detective like it's a therapist. Brother, you're not in therapy. You're being investigated for touching a child. Did it happen? We don't know. You haven't been tried. You haven't been charged. But you've been talked to. This is serious. He's trying to downplay what happened by talking about his own feelings and what it's done to him. What about what happened to the child? I mean, isn't that valid? Like a valid point, a valid question, a valid feeling to be concerned about? Okay, I didn't do it, but this is my niece. And I want to know who did do it. So let's clear my name. Let me tell my story. I'm just going to get it out. And then you can move on and stop wasting your time on, was it me? Was it someone else? I'll just clear my name and you can go figure out who actually did do it because I want justice for my niece. No. That was never a concern. Never. Never has been. Not for Joni, not for Rachel, not for Josh. JW and Rebecca care about that. I try to give them credit. I try. It's hard, but I do give it to him. So I wish they'd leave Daystar, but we'll see.
somebody usually kind of directs the discussion, and then you sometimes sort of reach.
All right. So the attorney tries to get Josh to tell what happened at the end of this meeting. And he goes on a monologue of how horrible Denise Boggs is, because Denise Boggs was then brought in to try to figure out what happened and to help the family heal and reconcile. Okay, so he goes on this whole slanderous monologue about how much he doesn't say he hates her, but he's spewing a lot of hate towards Denise Boggs, trying to discredit her and her story and her ministry, and then continues to slander Jonathan and Susie while accusing them of doing that to him. But all along, Josh is the one, like, dude, you look really guilty to to your own family. It's not about how you're being portrayed to the public, which is really all he seems to care about. I don't know why you would care about that. Anyway, let's go to a little further down the line here. I want to go to where he says that Denise Boggs grapes him, okay? Denise Boggs. It's just ridiculous. Okay.
August
2024?
No,
2023.
2021.
You're talking about the meeting with Denise.
No, we've had many meetings with Denise. Denise has made a lot of money in this.
Denise is a grifter. What you grifting for, Denise? I'm kidding.
Apparently quite profitable.
Yeah, I'm sure she's really worried about making money off of somebody disgusting like you who can't even keep his own story straight. You have to have everybody commentate it for you.
So Florida, Miami Beach, I believe it was sometime in July. This is sometime, I believe, in August. Could be different, but it's around that time. It's in summer. Within that time, we fly there, she flies here, all that stuff back and forth. Then she comes to issue family reconciliation. And literally, my wife, we're all sharing grievances. So this is after like 2 or 3 days of everything. I mean, I've been emotionally raped and abused by this woman. That's
What? 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 Excuse me? Okay. This hypocrite says that Denise Boggs has emotionally raped him. Emotionally raped him. What? She's trying to help you clear your name. But how is that emotional rape? She's trying to help him. She wants to know what happened. She does care about Josh as well, because why would you want an innocent man to be accused of touching a child? I don't want that. I'm going to be honest. It's not easy to sit here and think about the fact that, okay, well, I really don't believe Josh is guilty. Wait, what? I don't believe he's innocent. I don't believe Josh is innocent, not for a second. But it is sad to think about someone being falsely accused of touching a child, and they didn't do that. Now, I believe he did. Here's my cat. I believe he did, but Denise is kind of acting as a third party, and this man sits here and accuses her of emotional rape. The nerve.
go back to your family. Let's go back to your childhood. Let's do this. Let's do that. You know, have you ever watched porn? Do you still watch porn? You know, like all this. You know, have you ever looked at another lady? You know, as you're walking down the street. You know, have you ever cheated? Have you ever done this? You know, it's like craziness.
No. That is not crazy. It's actually quite normal for a counselor to ask you these questions. And maybe we should go back to your childhood. Okay, I find it really crazy that he says, she asked me about my childhood. Let's go back to your childhood. Did anything ever happen? Right after he accuses her of emotional rape. That's a lot of projection. And typically, statistically, you can look it up, a person that assaults a child, an adult that assaults a child, or a child that assaults a child sexually, the essay is a child. Hopefully I can say assault sexually. They essay a child. They themselves were essayed, probably as a child. I don't think that there are very many pedophiles who are out there running around who've never had that experience themselves, violated themselves. Does that excuse it? No, never. No, get help. Never. It doesn't excuse what happened to them either, but you know, you can't continue the cycle. You have to break that cycle. And I think it would be beneficial for Josh to actually go to therapy. Clearly, he's very upset at what has happened. But I don't think Josh wants to go to therapy because I don't think Josh wants to talk about what happened to him potentially. And that's why he acts the way he does. And do you notice how when he is trying to convey his innocence, he's leaning forward and like his eyes are, he is almost like laser eye focus on the detective to try to like, because I think he knows the detective's not buying it. It's not even hard for us to see. You can see down in the corner where he's sitting, he's just like chilling. If you're chilling, you're not really, the detective isn't engaged. And I don't mean he's not paying attention. I mean, he's not engaged in Josh's story. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to you. No, he's sitting back like, okay, keep talking because you make yourself sound like you're lying. If you let a liar talk, you'll realize that they have a lot to say. And normally they expose themselves. It's kind of entertaining. Oh. So he goes on to continue to slander her. Then apparently there's some kind of secret email that Denise has to stop Joni and Dr. Doug from getting married. This is the 47-minute mark. I'm not really going to go there right now. But he goes on to say that Denise has this secret email about him, or to throw Josh under the bus is what he says. He says this secret email for Denise to throw me under the bus. And Denise says, the detective says, what secret email? And Josh goes on to talk about how the secret email was Denise saying that Joni and Dr. Doug should not be getting married because there's a chance that Dr. Doug's previous marriage could reconcile and his ex-wife really wanted to reconcile, and that Joni and Doug shouldn't get married because it's not biblical, and all the kids agreed with her. And so she's trying to get Joni to repent to not marry Dr. Doug. And I don't know if that's what he considers being thrown under the bus, because at that moment, maybe he was on board with that. I don't know. He then goes on to say he apologizes to Joni because Dr. Doug is so wonderful and he thinks that she should be able to marry whoever she wants. So I don't understand how that's a conspiracy against Josh, other than the fact that maybe Denise thought he was on board with Joni not marrying Doug for whatever reason. And who knows, he could have said that to try to get himself out of trouble for whatever else he had been accused of earlier on. And we know that this came after the meetings with Denise, at least according to this interview. And who knows, Josh just talks out both sides of his mouth. So you really can't believe much that he says because it doesn't always line up. And it's really interesting how at the beginning, he says that Jonathan and Susie take a small portion of truth and blow it out of proportion. And that's kind of what Josh does. You know, not everything he's saying is a complete lie, right? Not everything he's saying didn't happen, right? Oh, okay. So I still fail to see how that email throws Josh under the bus. But I mean, I wasn't there, so. And I certainly am not going to understand what happened if I'm listening to Josh's account of the story. It don't make sense. The math ain't mathin'. All right, last thing. We're going to go to the letter of JW and Rebecca at the 55-minute mark. And I'm giving you guys these timestamps so you can go watch it yourself if you would wish to do that. And then I have one more clip we're going to play, and then we'll be done. Okay, here we go.
So we've had information for talking about, I'm sure that people mentioned the letter. You heard anything about that?
That apparently Jonathan Weiss wrote. I heard about that from someone from these bloggers. Once again, news to me.
So in that information led to people witnessing you kissing in the green room. So the green room was like that break room at DAYSTAR, I guess.
Well, we have a lot of green rooms, but they'd be probably referring to the family green room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any point
Again,
you ever kissed?
Irrelevant.
Have I ever kissed her? I probably kissed her on the head or the cheek.
I babysit 2 girls, and I know that I have not kissed them anywhere but on the head. Okay, I know that. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to, go back and be like, well, I don't know if it happened in the kitchen or if it happened in the living room. I know. I've only kissed them on the head. Okay? Just saying.
Because up until this craziness, you play with kids,
Okay, Josh.
Well, okay, we had a discussion earlier about the issue of kissing this child on the lips.
Yeah, definitely not. I have not kissed her on the lips.
Sometimes my camera will overheat, I think. So I'm just going to mess up my hair. It was so cute. Okay.
You're kissing on the head or cheek, you're doing so in the presence of other adults.
Of course.
You're doing so as a tease or a little
Yeah.
game with a child.
Okay.
Okay. And probably many times.
Yes.
Okay.
But I would imagine, attorney, that it was many times. I'm willing to bet that, yes, many times this happened, where you kissed a child that didn't want that. Right. Yeah. I would imagine it was 20 times or many times or whatever.
So I'm not trying to speculate or put words in your mouth or anything like that. And not trying to sound disgusting, but it was as a, I guess a,
Passionate kiss.
no, I don't want to say passionate kiss, but like a, almost like a fatherly, like affectionate thing, not an intimate thing, correct? Like your intention was more affectionate, like, hey, little child, versus an intimate situation.
I'm answering for it. Probably more playful.
Playful.
Again,
Okay.
When he-
Josh has no memory. He's like, oh, I would never. I don't even know what you're talking about.
he used the word affectionate. You're not adopting that word, are you?
And no, and I'm not her father either.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm just being like,
Okay.
I didn't really have a better word than affectionate, but you got it.
Playful.
So yeah. Okay.
Like,
Certainly not intimate.
no.
Certainly not affectionate. Playful.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hold up. I'm almost done and my camera it overheated, so it keeps turning off. So I'm just going to use my laptop here and I'm just going to finish this and we'll do a part 2, but let me just get that out of my face. Yeah, so this interview is, I think there were some points where Josh was totally thrown for a loop, didn't expect to be called out the way that he was in certain scenarios. Like, I think there was a lot where he was ready for it, like, the beach house situation, and but there were some other points where he was just totally, taken out, caught off guard and didn't really have an answer, and the attorney has to answer for him. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this is why you don't let a defendant take the stand as an attorney. In most cases, you don't let them testify in court because they go off script. And I have so much more I want to say. I want to watch this video again, take more notes, find out more thoughts that I know I have. It's hard for me to articulate it when I am so grieved for a child who was violated, and it's really hard. That's why it's so hard for me to watch this and talk about it. And I almost have to laugh at him because he's so ridiculous, and that's just like, that's how I've been coping with reporting on this particular interview. And yeah, I'll show you one more part. We'll finish up. And then we'll do a part 2. I'm really upset my camera overheated. I'm getting a like dummy battery, if you will, but it hasn't come yet. It's supposed to be here today, but it hasn't arrived yet. So we're doing what we can with what we've got, and I'm almost done. But I want to go to an hour and 4 minutes into this, and I'm going to let you guys watch. An hour and 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Okay, that's exactly where you can find where I want to make a point. The attorney here is describing the bedroom that he was not in, where Israel and the child that was allegedly essayed, not in the bedroom, but at some point by Joshua Brown, allegedly. And Joshua Brown was in there with his 1-year-old or 2-year-old son, Judah. Okay, so the attorney is drawing out that room that he was not at, but he's explaining what happened.
This room
Yeah.
is 2 rooms with a window area off each side. So you'll know what you're looking at. Bed there, bed here, here's window. And he is on this bed on his knees with his child looking out. his recollection as he looked around when he said, I still don't remember the child unclothed, is all the way over in this area with a dresser blocking from where she was, correct? Her dresser.
Where her suitcase is. I don't know where she was because I never saw her.
Okay.
Well, I saw her. I knew she was going up there, but when we're looking out the window, I have no idea where she is.
What's behind you? You don't.
I knew she was going up there. I knew she was going up there. Not how he says at the beginning, I knew she was coming up with us, or she was coming up behind me. I knew she was going up there. Okay. Josh was prepared until he wasn't. So he knew that the child was going upstairs to change into her swimsuit. So he confirmed right there, Josh Brown confirms the testimony of Jonathan and Susie and the housemaid Sylvia. And it's just crazy how they all sit on the set of the Daystar studio and smile from ear to ear as of this week. Okay. Well, like I said, do your own research, form your own opinions. Joshua Brown has not, to clarify, has not been charged with anything. This is a closed case as it stands. God is in control. God is a God of justice. And we're going to keep praying that we get that. So thank you for watching this episode of the By Faith podcast. Please subscribe if you're new. And I will see you all in the next episode. Adios.